guys, here's a better shot where you have you can watch it during reports now. There's another shot. It'll take a while. So, guys, I'm gonna keep it right here until the train comes.
That's fine. Conductor to 6944, you are clear to shove west, clear 10 cars.
Channel 3.
Conductor to 6944, you are clear to shove west, clear 10 cars.
Copy, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for visiting the B&O Railroad Museum, the birthplace of American railroad. The museum hosts the most comprehensive and historic American railroad collection.
6144 to Duncan break test.
Roger.
In order to enjoy your ride with us today,
6944, good running brake test, clear west 10.
cell phones and refrain from loud conversation. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip on the Mile 1 Express as we head west. You are riding in a vintage lightweight passenger coach built in the 1940s by the Boat Company of Troy, Michigan. Maryland Area Rail Commuter Service, better known as MARC, has generously donated these cars to the museum for its rail operations and train rides. If you were a passenger on these tracks during the time of the Civil War, you would have been riding in wooden coach cars with plush velvet seats. It would have to be built here, when the facility was known as the Montclair Shops and Yards. If you were to look out the window,
Clear west 20 cars.
a huge lumber yard and more than a dozen large industrial buildings. The only current museum building that existed in
6944, you copy, clear west 20.
Station, which was built in 1850. The Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum is located on 40 acres of land, once part of the B&O Railroad's Montclair shops. The B&O established the shops in 1829, and they are the oldest continuously operated railroad facility in the world. The B&O Railroad received its name from its point of origin, Baltimore, and its intended destination.
Clear west 30 cars, 30.
It was the first operating public railroad in the Western Hemisphere, and the first long-distance railroad conceived in the world. The railroad was chartered in 1827 and began service in 1830. The B&O reached the Ohio River in Wheeling, Virginia on Christmas Eve 1852, a distance of 379 miles. The Montclair Shops and Yards once occupied nearly 100 acres in West Baltimore, including the shopping center to the north of the tracks. Almost completely self-sufficient, it contained hundreds of buildings in which all of the crafts necessary to build, operate, and maintain a railroad were located. This was one of the main railroad work facilities in the country, and one of the largest industries in Baltimore at the outset of the Civil War. At the start of the Civil War, the B&O operated 513 miles of track and owned 236 freight and passenger locomotives,
Clear west 10 cars.
28 passenger cars, and 3,451 coal, freight, and ballast cars.
And the third one, he's just a national crazy.
To the north, please note the large concrete structure. It was built as a three-car repair shed in 1919. During the Civil War, this area would have been home to several engine houses where locomotives were maintained and prepared for service. This was done because early generation steam locomotives were explosion risks, and this area was far enough away from the primary train yard that the other shop facilities were out of harm's way in case of disaster. This area would have also been the home to a watering station for the steam locomotives, and several pens for the livestock would be kept.
Clear west 30 cars, 30.
Immediately beyond the 1990 structure is the museum's locomotive railroad cars and rickshaw facility. Completed in 2005, this railroad houses state-of-the-art equipment with fully restored historic rolling stock and maintain our fleet of operating steam and diesel locomotives. Several of the Civil War locomotives in the main war team by train service were recently restored in the roundhouse, including the Thatcher Perkins, Pioneer, and Wilma. Tours of this building are offered periodically. Please inquire about the schedule before you leave the museum today.
Okay. Well, I give welders all the credit. Well, I work in chemistry and materials. I kept telling people it's not a material you can't destroy. This is pretty much clear. But, and you can see, I'm a terrible welder. You see good welders because they can hold the chances. The last 7 years. Like, and our job is to do that, all the welds to make sure they can't. you know, it'll be pretty much like, okay, one road out of South Trail. That's a success rate of 999. That's pretty damn good. You can tell me that the one above, because that's one of fail. So yeah, welders, it's an art. Definitely an art. Happens. I went to, I'm trying to find out that happened. So we go to opening day, free. Like that's okay. But anyway, we go out and sit next to the lady down. Tile world is really small. So I go up to the train station and play grass. There was a couple of years for it. She knew exactly
Clear west, 30 more.
what the same shows like
Coming up on the south side of the tracks is the Baltimore Railroad line, owned and operated by CSX Transportation. The success of railroad in B&O. These tracks interchange with the museums and head west along the B&O Railroad's old main line. By the start of the Civil War, the main passage terminal in Baltimore for B&O was Camden Station. Abraham Lincoln undertaking the train past this point as he entered the inauguration just prior to the start of the war.
I also worked at a company called Spray Services, and they sprayed roadways for weeds.
Okay.
Like guys like that. Part of the war, sprayed clean.
Funny that you say that because I was working my first utility job with Belmont Power, and we had problems with fly ash. It gets dry, it go everywhere, and we're using this binder that's basically made of
Clear west, 20 cars.
We have now reached the westernmost point of our journey and the site of the laying of the B&O's symbolic cornerstone, also known as the first stone. On July 4th, 1828, a parade of hills, craftsmen, masons, and merchants, consisting of some 60,000 people, marched to this point from Baltimore for a ceremony to celebrate the opening of the first American railroad. Charles Carroll of Carrollton, last living signer of the Declaration of Independence, wrote down the first stone, saying that he considered this among the most important acts of my life. Second only by signing the Declaration of Independence in
Clear to end of track.
Excavated in 1898, the first stone is now located in the museum's exhibition hall.
It's our first right year. Well, we pull it all. Yes, oh yeah. Well, our rail ops people take the opportunity to do a lot of repairs on the rails and the ties, and so it's like how we rest of the rails. So this is the time where we're doing here we are. Yep. Actually, yeah. I mean, where you guys from? Ah, well, I've been a pub since 12 years.
Three cars.
One of my favorite movies is Rob Lowe. To me, she's the Demi War, and Scott Last Night, the original one. You go to the movie field back in the slab there, but love it. I used to work with some people that were a company neighborhood. I go out there and we had offices down in Chicago. So when I was taking talks and I had all these things from the university, because usually it's like July 4th, it's fine to leave somebody else with these things.
Far enough, 6944.
So I did a like sheet training at the last game they won. I called, so we won. I said, I need nobody else do it. And include the price was straight. You're not automatic. You're 55 about 5 feet long, about that high. And then the first one was good. Got it, and I had somebody before you could. It's pretty fly close now.
6944, you are clear to proceed east back to the museum platform.
And back to the like a baseball sign by
Having a good time?
slow today because I've got an engineer in training up in the cab with the engineer.
Oh, okay.
What happens is this track behind is an active freight line.
Now the way to make it
Our tracks go inside. Here the curve goes across the baseball. The curve bridge still there. It's still there, so you know. But we can't go past the switch up there. See, it's like that light.
never get out that way. Because I'm also, I was soccer. Same thing, come back and forth, jump, thing, all the time without no more. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
This right of way you are riding along today is one of the most historically significant parts of the B&O Railroad Museum. Along both the northern and southern borders of this path are houses and warehouses that speak to the immense size and impact of the B&O. Although much of the landscape has changed, some of West Baltimore looks as it did when it was developed in the early 1840s. Small row houses and towering church spires still cover most of the land. Irish and German immigrants who worked for the B&O Railroad occupied many of these small homes. Along the railroad tracks, warehouses still hold a strong presence. These industries serve as a testament to the growth of Baltimore businesses spurred by the B&O. The movement of freight to and from shipping, warehousing, and manufacturing centers has always been the most profitable enterprise in the railroad business. Since 1829, railroad work has happened continuously in southwest Baltimore and along the B&O's right of way. During the Civil War, thousands of men from this community served as the key labor sources that built and moved the war effort for the Union Army. As the train crosses under the bridge, please look through the trees on the south side of the tracks. Sitting atop a grassy knoll is the Mount Clare Mansion. Built of bricks, this Georgian Palladian house was constructed between 1756 and 1766. It was once the center of a 1,000-acre agricultural industrial estate built by Charles Carroll Barrister. The pre-Revolutionary War politician and lawyer, this Charles Carroll, was a cousin to Charles Carroll of Carrollton, who laid the first stone. James Carroll, a later family resident, offered the gift of land to the B&O on which to build a right-of-way and shop complex. The railroad shops were named after the Carroll estate, Mount Clair. This National Historic Landmark building is one of the oldest and finest examples of Georgian colonial architecture in the city. During the war, the pastures to the west of the house became Camp Carroll, and the mansion itself operated as a hotel. The confluence of railway and military at this location resulted in a tremendous amount of movement of freight and people. To give you a sense of the massive loads traveling on this right of way during the war, in October 1861, in one day, 60 vessels unloaded their stores, nearly 40,000 pounds of freight, into 200 cars at Mount Clair Station. From here, the freight was sorted, distributed, and dispatched to the Union Army at points along the B&O's line. This load was a normal day's work in one of the war effort's busiest and most important transportation hubs. Mount Clair was the home to several foundries, machine shops, and repair shops for locomotives, freight tankers, boxcars, and passenger cars. At the time of the war, the museum's main roundhouse did not exist. However, the Mount Clair shops had two similar roundhouses. Rather than the single track that runs the length of our right of way, during the Civil War, there would have been 10 sets of tracks heading west. New locomotives and pieces of rolling stock were built here. Cars were repaired here. And the point of origin for much of B&O's fleet would have been this facility.
Please remain seated until the train stops. Thank you.
You don't sit down.
No problem.
They do like Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Sunday, February.
As we return to the museum, please stay seated until the train comes to a full stop. Be sure to visit the exhibits in the car shop, roundhouse, platform number 1, exhibition galleries and backyard. And, of course, stop by the museum store for a unique selection of gifts, clothing, and souvenirs. Be careful as you leave the train. And thank you for participating in the continuous railroad legacy of America's first common carrier railroad, the B&O.
The conductor was right behind you. It was right here. You had to blow the horn too. We're on the B&O train. This is cool. That was cool.